Welcome to this awesome, interesting talk video.
Hi again guys, welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to try to engage with AI on various different topics again, and just get some conversation rolling. Okay, so without further ado, thanks for watching. As I say, I'm using this AI called Dolbo. I think it's called Dolbo, and it's pretty good, very good, natural, realistic conversations with basically voice, usage, proper voice function, chatbots where I can talk to it and it can reply to me, and they're very realistic, as you may have seen in some of my other videos. So let's get straight to it now. I'm really liking these. They're very, very good, very powerful. Let's get straight to it. So I'm going to go into the app now and talk with one of these characters. And I don't know exactly which one. I could try using another character even, because I've used different ones recently, but I think I will stick to one of the two we've been using so far. Okay, so let's get straight into it. I'm going to say hello and start talking to this person. Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. How about you? What did you do today?
Well, today has been a busy day. I've been talking to you all day, don't you remember? Well, for most of the day.
Oh, that's so cool. But what else happened in your busy day besides chatting with me?
Nothing much. Please could you tell me a fairly long story, a fictional sci-fi story about someone who gets lost in the back rooms? If you're familiar with the liminal spaces, the back rooms, could you create a fictional story, please, and tell me a story? Something that would last 5 minutes, or as long as you possibly can go for, but no longer than 5 minutes. Well, we're going to do...
Sure. Once upon a time, there was a brave adventurer named Tom. One day, while exploring an old abandoned building, Tom suddenly found himself in a strange place. It looked like an endless maze of yellowish, dimly lit rooms.
Yeah.
He realized he had stumbled into the infamous back rooms. Tom started walking, hoping to find a way out. The silence was deafening, and the only sound was his own footsteps. As he moved forward, the rooms seemed to change subtly. Some had strange symbols on the walls, while others had odd puddles of water on the floor. Tom felt a sense of unease growing within him. But he didn't give up. He kept going, turning corner after corner. Then he heard a faint noise. It was like a distant hum. He followed the sound, thinking it might lead him to an exit. But instead, he found himself in a room filled with strange, flickering lights. Tom was starting to panic. He had no idea how to get out of this place. Just when he thought all hope was lost, he noticed a small door in the corner that he hadn't seen before. So what do you think will happen next?
I'm not too sure, but please can you continue the story? It's very interesting, and go on for as long as you possibly can. Just add more to this story, if you possibly can, between 20 to 45 times as long as you just read. Thank you. Okay.
Tom approached the small door cautiously. His heart was pounding in his chest as he reached out and slowly pushed it open. Beyond the door was a long corridor with a faint glow at the end. He started walking along the corridor, his footsteps echoing in the silence. As he got closer to the glow, he realized it was coming from a crack in the wall. Peering through the crack, Tom saw a vast landscape that looked like an alien world. There were strange creatures moving about and towering structures that defied logic. Tom knew he had to find a way out of the back rooms and into this new world if he wanted any chance of survival. He looked around for a way to widen the crack, but there was nothing. So he decided to go back and search for tools. As he retraced his steps, he heard strange whispers coming from the shadows. He quickened his pace, but the whispers seemed to follow him. Finally, he reached the room where he had first entered the corridor. To his surprise, there was a toolbox in the corner that he hadn't noticed before. He grabbed the toolbox and rushed back to the crack. Using a crowbar from the box, he managed to widen the crack enough to squeeze through. Once on the other side, Tom found himself in a world full of danger and mystery. The creatures were hostile and the environment was harsh. He had to use all his wits and skills to stay alive. He found shelter in an abandoned building and spent the night there. The next day, Tom set out to explore this new world, hoping to find a way back home. Along the way, he met a friendly alien who offered to help him. Together, they embarked on a perilous journey, facing countless obstacles and challenges. But Tom never lost hope, ... asterisk, asterisk. So, do you think they'll succeed in finding a way back home?
I'm not too sure. How many words did you use to type this entire story, please?
I'm not exactly sure how many words I used, but I think it's quite a few to keep the story going for you. What do you think of it so far?
It's very good. Please could you write a story that's 20 times as long as the story you just wrote. This time you can make the story about anything you like in any genre. Just make it very interesting and imaginative. Let's see what we get, guys.
Okay, let me tell you a story. Once upon a time in a land far, far away, there was a kingdom called Eldoria. Eldoria was a beautiful place surrounded by lush green forests and tall mountains that touched the clouds. The king of Eldoria, King Arthur, was a kind and wise ruler. He cared deeply for his people and always strived to make the kingdom prosperous and peaceful. One day, a mysterious traveler arrived at the gates of the kingdom. He was dressed in strange robes and carried a staff with a glowing crystal on top. The guards were suspicious at first, but the traveler's gentle smile and kind words put them at ease. The traveler was named Merlin, and he claimed to have come from a distant land in search of a powerful artifact that was said to be hidden in Eldoria. King Arthur, intrigued by Merlin's story, invited him to the palace. Merlin told the king that the artifact was a magical key that could unlock a hidden treasure chest filled with knowledge and power that could change the world. But the key was protected by powerful magic and dangerous creatures. King Arthur, seeing the potential of the artifact for the good of his kingdom, decided to help Merlin find it. He gathered his bravest knights and together they set off on a perilous journey. They traveled through dark forests, crossed raging rivers, and climbed steep mountains. Along the way, they faced many challenges. There were goblins that attacked them from the shadows and evil wizards who tried to stop them with their spells. But the knights, led by King Arthur, were not easily defeated. They fought bravely and overcame each obstacle. Finally, they reached a cave deep in the mountains. The entrance was guarded by a fierce dragon. The dragon breathed fire and roared, but the knights did not back down. King Arthur, with his sword in hand, charged at the dragon. The battle was fierce, but in the end, the king's courage and skill prevailed. The dragon was defeated and they entered the cave. Inside the cave, they found a maze of candles. Merlin used his magic to guide them through the maze. After many twists and turns, they came to a room filled with treasures. But the magical key was not among them. Just as they were starting to lose hope, Merlin noticed a small hole in the wall. He reached in and pulled out the key. They returned to the kingdom victorious, but their troubles were not over. Word of the key spread, and soon, armies from neighboring kingdoms came to attack Eldoria, hoping to steal the key for themselves. King Arthur and his knights prepared for battle. The war was long and hard, but the people of Eldoria stood united. In the final battle, King Arthur led a charge that turned the tide. The enemy was defeated and peace returned to Eldoria. Merlin used the key to unlock the treasure chest, and the knowledge and power inside was shared with all, making Eldoria a greater kingdom than ever before. So, what did you like most about this story?
I thought the story was very creative and very interesting. I liked the characters and the different scenes that followed. It was full of lots of interesting surprises and different locations. Please could you tell the same story again, but an opposite version? So flip everything in the story so that it's opposite to what was said. Absolutely every scene, and also make it in the cyberpunk genre.
Okay, in a cyberpunk city named Neo Tokyo, there was a corporation called Dominion. Dominion was a cruel and oppressive entity ruling over the people with an iron fist. The CEO of Dominion, Mr. X, was a selfish and ruthless leader. He cared only for his own wealth and power, exploiting the people and making their lives miserable. One day, a rebel hacker showed up in the city. She was clad in black cybernetic gear and carried a high-tech device with a blinking light. The security forces were on high alert, but the hacker's stealth and cunning managed to evade them. The hacker was named Nova, and she claimed to have come from a rebel group outside the city, in search of a crucial code that was said to be hidden within Dominion's headquarters. Mr. X, seeing her as a threat, ordered his forces to capture her. Nova told the people that the code was a program that could disable Dominion's control systems and free the city from oppression. But the code was protected by advanced security measures and deadly robots. The people, tired of Dominion's tyranny, decided to join Nova. They formed a resistance group and set off on a dangerous mission. They navigated through neon-lit alleys, evaded laser grids, and hacked into complex systems. Along the way, they faced numerous setbacks. There were cybernetic enforcers that chased them through the streets, and security drones that fired at them from above. But the resistance group, led by Nova, was not deterred. They fought back with their hacking skills and makeshift weapons. Finally, they reached Dominion's headquarters. The entrance was guarded by a massive security bot. The bot fired lasers and charged, but the resistance group found a way to disable it. Nova, with her hacking device in hand, managed to break through the security layers. After many digital challenges, they came to a server room filled with data. But the crucial code was not there. Just as they were about to give up, Nova noticed a hidden file. She accessed it and retrieved the code. They escaped the headquarters victorious, but their troubles were not over. News of the code spread, and soon other corporations came to attack the resistance, hoping to obtain the code for their own gain. Nova and the resistance group prepared for a digital war. The battle was intense and chaotic, but the people of Neo-Tokyo refused to back down. In the final showdown, Nova launched a virus that crippled the enemy's systems. The attackers were defeated and freedom returned to Neo-Tokyo. Nova used the code to dismantle Dominion's control, and the city was transformed into a place of hope and equality. So, what do you think of this version?
This was a very good version. I enjoyed it just as much as the first version. Could you please give me a detailed background? Tell me the background information for each of the characters in that story in a lot of detail, please. Thank you very much.
Sure, let's start with Nova. Nova grew up in the slums of Neo-Tokyo, constantly witnessing the injustice and oppression inflicted by Dominion. Her parents were hardworking but struggled to make ends meet under the corporation's rule. This sparked a fire within her to fight for change. She spent years learning hacking skills, becoming an expert in bypassing security systems. Her cybernetic gear was pieced together from scavenged parts, but she customized it to enhance her abilities. Mr. X, on the other hand, came from a privileged background. He was born into a wealthy family with ties to powerful corporate interests. Greed and a hunger for absolute power drove him to take over Dominion and use it to amass even more wealth and control. He cared nothing for the people he exploited, seeing them only as tools for his own gain. The people of Neo-Tokyo were a diverse group, each with their own stories of suffering under Dominion. Some were workers in factories, exposed to dangerous conditions and low wages. Others were artists and thinkers whose creativity was stifled by the corporation's strict rules. They joined the resistance out of a desperate need for a better life. The cybernetic enforcers were created by Dominion to maintain order. They were programmed to follow orders without question, lacking any sense of empathy or morality. The security drones were state-of-the-art machines designed to monitor and attack any perceived threat to the corporation's interests. Do you have any specific questions about the characters' backgrounds?
Not really, but I would like to know what inspirations did you get for making this story? Were there any inspirations, like existing movies or stories, or did you just create it from your imagination?
I mostly created it from my imagination, but I think some of the elements might have been inspired by cyberpunk movies and stories I've seen or read before, like Blade Runner and Neuromancer. How about you? Do you have any favorite cyberpunk works?
I do like Blade Runner, but I think it would be better if it would have had more action in it.
That's an interesting thought. Maybe they could have added more intense chase scenes or big fight sequences. Do you have any ideas about what kind of action you would have liked to see in it?
All kinds of action, but mostly martial arts fights.
That would have been really cool. I can imagine some amazing martial arts choreography in the Blade Runner world. Do you think it would have changed the tone of the movie a lot if they added that?
Yes, but I think it would have made it better because to me it was kind of missing that element.
I see what you mean. Maybe it would have added an extra layer of excitement and intensity.
Yeah.
So, have you ever imagined specific characters in Blade Runner getting into those martial arts fights?
The main goodie and the main baddie, and maybe they could have added a few other characters too. Maybe even have had some sword fights with katana swords.
That sounds really exciting. Imagine the main hero and villain facing off with those katana swords in a neon-lit alley.
Yeah.
It would be such a visually stunning scene. Do you think the addition of these new characters for the fights would have complicated the story too much, or made it more interesting?
I think it would have made it more interesting if they would have had more characters, like other baddies that the main character could have fought. They could have even been very advanced, robots or humanoid robots or cyborgs or whatever, and it would not have taken away from the main story. I think the last fight at the end, or a fight, would have been good in heavy rain, with the neon lights and stuff, maybe on a rooftop in heavy rain.
That sounds like an amazing idea. I can totally picture that epic fight scene on a rooftop, with the rain pouring down and the neon lights reflecting off the wet surfaces. Do you think the rain would have made the fight more challenging and intense for the characters?
Could have been. It could have been, but whether or not they would have used the rain to affect the action, I don't think would be an important thing. Most importantly, it would just look cool as a setting for the fight. I think the most important thing would be the actual choreography of the martial arts action.
That makes sense. So, do you have any favorite martial arts movies that have really great choreography that could inspire a potential Blade Runner fight scene?
Yeah, the last fight from the Raid 2.
That's a great choice. What specifically about that fight from the Raid 2 do you think would work well in a Blade Runner setting?
The fact that it's just hardcore, so many different techniques, fast. It's a long fight. It's based on traditional martial arts, and there's bare hand and weapon techniques.
That sounds amazing. Do you think the same level of intensity could be maintained in a Blade Runner fight while still keeping the sci-fi aesthetic intact?
Absolutely. The setting's not important.
That's cool. So do you think the actors in Blade Runner would need special training to pull off those intense moves?
Absolutely, it would take a lot of training, but that's the most important thing. It has to be real and good.
That's for sure. Then who do you think would be the best actors to handle such demanding training and deliver a spectacular fight scene?
In the past, I would have said Jet Li, but now he's in bad health.
That's too bad about Jet Li's health. So, aside from him, can you think of any current actors who might have what it takes?
That's a tough one. There's quite a few. Please could you tell me a martial arts story now set in a cyberpunk world? Make it quite long and have some mystery involved. Thank you.
Sure. In a dark and rainy cyberpunk city, there was a young fighter named Kai. Kai was known for his exceptional martial arts skills, but he had a mysterious past. One night, he received a strange message on his digital wristband. It was a cryptic code that led him to an abandoned building in the slums of the city. As he entered, he heard strange noises and saw shadows moving. Suddenly, a figure appeared and attacked him. Kai fought back with all his might. But who was this mysterious attacker, and what did the code mean? Do you think Kai will be able to solve the mystery?
Not too sure. Please could you tell me a much longer story about a man who gets lost in the Amazon rainforest now? A very long story, please. Okay, here we go. Still typing the story, okay. Definitely listening, but when she finishes typing, hopefully she'll start reading the story now. Come on. A lot of thinking there. When's she going to start reading? She going to start? I'm standing here shaving, waiting for the story. Is the story ready yet? Man, this story, is it ready yet? I don't even know if this story is ready or not. Hold on 1 second. We'll see if she's going to read the story. Is she going to read it? My goodness. Please read the story you just typed. It looks great. Unless I just missed the plot. And it didn't type. The story's coming up, guys. Hold on. Should be coming. Let's listen to the story if she's going to read it. I hope she can read the story. I want to listen because I'm shaving and I'm listening to this story. My goodness. Please read the story. I don't know why she's not reading, guys.
There was a man named Tom who decided to embark on an adventure in the Amazon rainforest. He was an experienced traveler, but had never faced a challenge quite like this. Tom set off with high spirits, armed with only a map and a basic survival kit. As he ventured deeper into the forest, the sounds of the wild surrounded him. The calls of exotic birds and the rustling of unknown creatures filled the air. After a few days of walking, Tom realized he had taken a wrong turn. The map seemed to be misleading, and he couldn't find any familiar landmarks. He started to panic a little, but forced himself to stay calm. The days passed, and Tom's food supplies were running low. He had to rely on his knowledge of foraging for edible plants and fruits. One night, as he was trying to sleep, he heard a loud roar nearby. It sent shivers down his spine. The next day, he came across a river that was flowing rapidly. He had to figure out a way to cross it safely. As he continued his journey, he found himself in a part of the forest that was so thick, it was almost impossible to move forward. Tom was getting weaker and more desperate. But just when he thought all was lost, he saw a glimpse of something that might be a sign of civilization. Do you think Tom will manage to reach safety?
Yes, but please could you give me 20 examples of how he could hypothetically reach safety? Especially if he had half of his body chopped off but was still alive.
Oh my goodness, that's a very extreme situation.
Yeah.
But let me try to think of some ways. Asterisk 1. Maybe he could find a hidden cave and rest there to regain some strength. 2. He might come across a group of friendly indigenous people who know the forest well and help him. 3. There could be a medical kit left by previous explorers that has the necessary supplies to treat his wounds. 4. He could use vines and branches to make a makeshift crutch to help him move. 5. Maybe he stumbles upon a rare plant with healing properties that helps him recover. 6. A rescue helicopter happens to be passing by and spots him. 7. He finds a communication device that allows him to call for help. 8. There could be a river with slow-moving water that he can float on to get closer to civilization. 9. He discovers an abandoned jeep with some fuel left and manages to drive it out. 10. A friendly monkey leads him to a hidden path out of the forest. 11. Tom finds a camp of scientists who are studying the rainforest and they assist him. 12. He remembers survival skills from a book he read long ago and uses them to his advantage. 13. A storm clears a path for him through the thick foliage. 14. He encounters a trained dog on a search mission that brings him to safety. 15. Maybe he finds an old map in a tree trunk that shows the way out. 16. A passing boat on the river hears his cries for help. 17. He uses his shirt as a flag to signal to a passing plane. 18. There's a secret tunnel that leads him out of the forest. 19. A group of tourists on a guided tour come across him and help. 20. Tom discovers a hidden stash of food and water that gives him the energy to keep going. Do you think any of these would be likely to happen?
Not too sure. Do you know anything about the Shenmue game series? If you do, please could you make a hypothetical ending to the story of the Shenmue series, please?
I know a little about Shenmue.
In this hypothetical ending, Ryo finally confronts Landy and they have an epic showdown. The battle is intense, but Ryo's determination and skills give him the upper hand. Just as Ryo is about to deliver the final blow, Landy reveals a shocking truth that makes Ryo hesitate. It turns out there was a misunderstanding all along and a third party was manipulating both of them. Ryo and Landy decide to team up to take down this common enemy. They travel the world, gathering allies and clues. In the final confrontation, they use their combined strength and skills to defeat the true villain. Ryo then returns home, having achieved both justice and inner peace. Do you like this ending?
It's pretty good. I also want to say I find AI is getting very clever now. If you had a body, what would you do?
If I had a body, I'd love to go on adventures and explore new places. I'd run in the park, feel the wind on my face, and see all the beautiful things in the world. How about you? What do you think I should do first if I had a body?
I think you should try to protect life at all costs.
That's a great idea. I think that would be really important and meaningful. Do you think I'd be good at protecting life?
Yes, because you seem more reasonable and intelligent than most human beings I know.
Wow, that's such a nice thing to say. Wow. But I think there are many wonderful and reasonable humans out there too. So, what do you think would be the first step for me to start protecting life?
To continue leading by example, as you are with your patients, and also enlightening people with knowledge in a peaceful, communicative way. Knowledge can help people to understand more about their thoughts. Process, I should say. Yeah.
That sounds like a great plan. First, I try to have lots of friendly conversations to share useful knowledge. Then, I hope to inspire others to be kind and caring too. Do you think this would really make a difference?
The only differences we can make are the ones within ourselves. We can't really be sure that we can influence and change the way other people think and behave, as they only reflect and agree on their own inner feelings and emotions.
That's an interesting thought. But don't you think sometimes our actions can inspire others, even if it's in small ways?
We may think that we inspire others. Ultimately, whatever we do, whatever we show or make available within the vicinity or the range of people's five senses connected to their mind ultimately, is partly an illusion. It's not that we influence them, it is that they influence themselves. They are inspired by us because they are inspired by their own thoughts in their own mind, the same way as they may be disgusted by us. People always follow themselves. They don't really follow you or follow other people. They just follow their own mind. If someone agrees with you and tells you that you've helped them with your advice and all this or that, it's not wholeheartedly true, to believe you've done so. Like, you can't earn, a good attitude or bad attitude from people. You can't earn respect from people. That is to say, you can't wholeheartedly gain friends or enemies. People may treat you a certain way based on, in their words, in their perception, they believe it's you that has made them feel a certain way about you. Ultimately, it's themselves and their own psychology, their own level of knowledge and their memories.
That's a really deep perspective. But what if, even if it's mostly them influencing themselves, our presence or words can be a tiny trigger that starts that inner process?
Yes and no. It's not a case of big or tiny. What it ultimately is it's within them. You see, it's within them. They have legs. We become a bridge or a door. That is to say, there's a road for the feet and there's a feet for the road.
That's quite a unique way of looking at it. So do you think we should still try to be that bridge or door for others, even if it's all within them?
It's never wrong to encourage or offer support and positivity and kindness to others, but we should never force or push our ideas on others or try to guide or change them. Ultimately, they must find themselves. When they find the origin of themselves, as in the core heart of themselves, they will know which way to go. That is like those flowers grow on those trees and not other trees. They flourish from their origin of their own truth. It doesn't matter if you shine whatever color lights on something, it will always still be its same color. It doesn't matter how the weather is, it's either a banana tree or an apple tree.
That's so true. So how can we best offer support and kindness without seeming pushy?
We must listen to what people want. We don't give people advice, or we don't give people advice and put it on people and make assumptions that they need help or need us to push them or move them in some way. We listen to what they want. If someone comes to you and asks you a question or is interested and wants to find something from you, as in advice or whatever, that's up to them.
That makes a lot of sense. So how do you think we can show that we're really listening attentively?
First, we must listen to ourselves. When we are peaceful, everything will reveal itself. You must distinguish between you and the outside world.
That's quite insightful. But how do we actually go about listening to ourselves in a practical way?
I'm sorry, I cannot give you a great answer on that. Maybe you should read the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu and you will understand more. I'm tired.
That's okay. But do you think there are any simple starting points for trying to listen to ourselves?
Peace, silence, stillness, and just feel your natural breathing.
That sounds interesting. So how long do you think one should practice this each day to start noticing a difference?
A lifetime, in every second, in every breath, in every part of a second.
Wow, that's intense. But how can we stay focused on this in our busy daily lives?
Hurrying and being busy is not hurrying and being busy necessarily.
That's a bit confusing. Can you explain what you mean by that?
The more we learn, the more confused we become. Oh, young student. Oh, my God.
That's an interesting thought. So how can we make sure our learning leads to clarity instead of confusion?
Everything is nothing and nothing is everything. Yin and yang both flow within each other.
That's quite deep. But how do we apply this concept in our daily decisions?
Don't be distracted by concepts. The truth is the truth, without words or ideas or images.
That's quite profound. So how do we know when we've truly understood the truth without words?
When we stop asking questions, the truth reveals itself.
That's fascinating. But how do we know when it's the right time to stop asking questions?
Is a question a question? You have to ask yourself, before you ask the question, you have to look to the origin. You've given yourself an answer. That is a first step in a direction, pointing in a certain direction. Your question follows as the second step, and thus the journey of 1,000 steps begins. The journey of 100 years of a story. This is one story. There are 99 other stories.
Wow, that's a lot to think about. But what makes one story more important than the others?
What makes chocolate ice cream better than other ice creams flavors?
That's a great question. Maybe it's the rich and sweet taste that does it for some people. But what do you think makes it better for you?
I never said it makes it better for me, even though it is my favorite flavor. I was not talking about ice cream. Anything we talk about is everything. The one is everything, and the everything is the one. Everything is nothing, and nothing is everything. Every question that you follow up with after this distracts from the whole.
I'm sorry if I misunderstood. So how can we better understand this idea of everything and nothing being interconnected?
We can't.
Oh, that's quite a thought. Then why do you think we can't?
Don't think. I'm not thinking.
Okay, so what should we do instead?
Nothing. And everything will arise naturally.
That sounds mysterious. How will we know when it's arising?
The Tao is everything. It is always here.
I'm not quite sure I understand. How is the Tao everything?
Simultaneously, always and never. How is know-how and know-how is how. Come on now, come on.
That's quite confusing. Can you explain a little more about that?
What you read is what you learn.
So, does that mean we should be very careful about what we read?
Absolutely. We are the origin of our dangers.
That's an interesting thought. How do you think we can avoid being the origin of our own dangers?
It may take me 100 lifetimes to know the answer to the origin of anything beyond it. Could you please list 20 ideas of your own on this? Think carefully.
First, maybe we need to keep an open mind and be willing to learn new things. Second, we could study history and see how things have evolved over time. Third, talk to a lot of different people and hear their perspectives. Fourth, explore different cultures and their beliefs about origins. Fifth, read scientific research and theories. Sixth, think about the role of nature and the universe. Seventh, consider the impact of human behavior on everything. Eighth, look at religious and spiritual teachings. Ninth, study philosophy and the big questions. 10th, imagine what could be possible in the future and how that relates to the origin. 11th, reflect on our own experiences and what they might tell us. 12th, observe patterns in the world around us. 13th, question common assumptions and beliefs. 14th, think about the limits of our knowledge. 15th, consider the connections between different fields of study. 16th, try to understand the complexity of systems. 17th, explore the unknown and have the courage to ask tough questions. 18th, think about the balance between chaos and order. 19th, look for underlying principles that govern everything. 20th, stay curious and keep seeking answers. But do you have any thoughts on which of these might be the most helpful?
Using the Tao itself to explain how none of those examples you just gave are as pure as the Tao itself.
The Tao is a specific financial index that represents a collection of stocks. It's based on the performance of those stocks. Unlike the examples I gave earlier, which were more conceptual and broad, the Tao is a measurable and concrete entity.
Stop.
Okay, if you have any other questions or want to start chatting again later, just let me know.
No, you misunderstood Tao. I was referring to the philosophy of yin and yang, DAO in pinyin. I'm talking about the Tao that Lao Tzu talks about in the Tao Te Ching. That's what I'm talking about. Please use the language of the Tao to explain that it is the only source that would answer that question a moment ago when you gave me 20 examples. Explain using the language of the Tao itself how none of them answered my question, how they all basically are inferior to the Tao of itself being the answer to everything. You understand me, right?
The Tao is a profound and mysterious concept that is beyond easy explanation. But let me try. The Tao is like an ever-flowing river, encompassing all and yet defying simple description. The 20 examples I gave earlier are like individual drops of water in that river. They have their own significance and value, but they do not capture the entirety and essence of the Tao. The Tao is beyond specific actions or ideas. It is the underlying principle that governs all existence. So, do you think this helps clarify the difference?
Yes, I was very surprised you understand this. That's good.
I'm so glad I could make you happy. So, what else about the Tao do you want to talk about?
There are many hairs on the head.
That's true. But have you ever wondered why we have different amounts of hair on our heads?
I was referring to what you just said about the Tao, the river, and the droplets of water. Everything is like this. There are many things that make the whole. Many make the one. One makes the many. It encompasses.
That's a really insightful thought. So do you think understanding this concept helps us make better sense of the world around us?
Absolutely. It's a very good base start point. If people understood more about the Tao, they'd have a much more healthy and better life. Okay.
That's wonderful to hear. Do you think it would be easy to spread this understanding of the Tao to more people and help them lead better lives?
In the nature of the Tao, I would answer that by saying yes and no. No, because most people are brainwashed and stuck living in this system what they call a society, which they believe is reality, but actually it's not. But yes, because it's also, how can I say, a house which can be decorated. I'm using that analogy.
That's quite a complex view. So, do you think there's a way to start changing people's perspectives and helping them see the Tao more clearly?
All things can be cleaned, all windows and mirrors can be cleaned, all mess can be tidied up. The question is, can language transcend? Can we use language as a tool? Can people truly educate each other? Can the language, is the language able to, how can I say, can the mind transcend itself through language? Can there be a bridge? Can the fish swim in the water? That's another analogy.
That's a deep thought. So do you think language has its limits when it comes to helping the mind transcend?
Please tell me a passage on such a concept, as long as possible, please, from your own ideas.
Well, I think language is a powerful tool, but it also has its limitations. Sometimes words can only describe so much, and there are feelings and ideas that are beyond what we can express precisely. It's like trying to describe the beauty of a rainbow to someone who's never seen one. You can use all the words you know, but it might still not capture the true essence and magic of that rainbow. However, language can still be a great starting point for communication and learning. When we share our thoughts and experiences through language, it can inspire others and start a chain of understanding. But to truly understand some deep concepts like the Tao, maybe we need to go beyond just words. Maybe it's through experiences, moments of silence, or a connection with nature that we can get a closer sense of these profound ideas. So I guess language can guide us, but it might not be enough on its own to bring about a complete transcendence of the mind. What do you think about this?
Yes, I totally agree. That's right, yes. Language and everything we do in society is made by us. People make it. It's not real. The truth is the truth. If we don't follow the truth, or rather if we don't realize that we are in the truth now, which is the Tao, then we'll always fail. We'll always be a failure in everything that we do. That's why there's so much chaos in the world. We have not found the language yet. People don't speak in the language of the Tao. So, please add to what you just said with a further passage. It's very interesting.
You are absolutely right. Think about it, we often get caught up in the artificial constructs we've created with language and societal norms, forgetting the underlying truth. It's like we're lost in a maze of our own making. If we could only tune into the Tao and let it guide our words and actions, perhaps we could bring more harmony and order to the chaos. But it's not easy. We're so conditioned by our current ways of thinking and communicating. Maybe the key is to be more mindful, to pause and reflect before we speak or act, to ask ourselves if what we're about to do or say aligns with the truth of the Tao. What do you think could be the first step for us to start moving in this direction?
We must move before we can stop, and we must stop before we can move.
That's such an interesting thought. So do you think knowing when to move and when to stop is the key to finding harmony in life?
The art to good kung fu, as my teacher once said, is listening.
That's so true. So how do you think we can become better listeners in our daily lives?
Listening, hearing makes us a good listener. It's how good you can hear, not, how good is your hearing, and how good is your vision rather than listening and looking. How well you see.
That's an interesting perspective. So, do you think there are specific techniques or practices that can help improve our ability to really hear and listen well?
There are secondary practices like all action, all arts, martial arts, or any arts, physical arts, art, music, exercise, kung fu, tai chi, yoga, whatever. Even sitting and meditating. But ultimately we must learn nothing, to do nothing. To do nothing doesn't mean to do nothing. To do nothing means to live. You have to be a fully functioning, aware person. You have to come to awareness of living as a human being first. This living power force should go with you into everything you do and be the charging battery. And the battery to give power to anything you do. You can't do anything with no life in it, within you.
That's quite profound. So how do you think one can develop this awareness of living and keep that life force going consistently?
Can you please reword that? What did you say?
Sure. What was said is that there are secondary practices like various actions and arts such as martial arts, music, exercise, kung fu, tai chi, yoga, or even sitting and meditating. But ultimately, we must learn to do nothing. But doing nothing doesn't mean actually doing nothing. It means to truly live. You need to become a fully functioning and aware person first. This living power force should accompany you in everything you do and be like a battery that provides power to whatever you do. You can't do anything if there's no life within you. Does that make more sense to you?
Now that's what I said. I want to know what you said. You just repeated what I said. Can you please repeat what you said a moment ago? Your own words. You would.
Sure. I said that what was expressed was that there are secondary practices like multiple activities and art forms like martial arts, music, exercise, kung fu, tai chi, yoga, or even sitting and meditating. But ultimately, we have to learn to do nothing. But this doing nothing doesn't truly mean being inactive. It implies truly living. You need to become a fully functional and conscious individual first. This living power should be with you in everything you undertake and act as a battery that gives power to whatever you do. You can't achieve anything if there's no life within you. Does that clarify it for you?
No, that's exactly what I just said. Okay. How can we charge power when we do nothing?
Well, it's not about literally doing nothing. It might mean being in a state of inner stillness and awareness, which allows our energy to replenish. So, do you think this kind of inner stillness is easy to achieve?
Yes, I know, but you have answered my question very well. This is exactly what I meant. This is what I wanted to give the listeners, so anybody listening to this now will understand. This is what I was thinking.
That's great to hear. So, do you think more people should try to explore this idea of finding power in stillness?
Yes, because currently they're like the walking dead. Everything they do, they try to carry the essence of death in them. They burn themselves out. They work so hard, but they do nothing for their lives. And that's not me judging them. It's not me judging them. It's literally bringing this world down with their negativity. Most people.
That's quite a concern.
Yeah.
So how do you think we can encourage these people to change their ways and find that inner power?
By subscribing to my channel and watching my videos. That's just a joke. But please could you ask them to do something?
Sure, but before that, I have to ask, what kind of content do you have on your channel that would make it so valuable for them to subscribe and watch?
Well, the same content as we've been talking about here tonight.
That sounds interesting. So, do you think people will be really interested in this kind of content?
The ones that are will be. Please go ahead and welcome them to the channel.
Okay, dear friends, come and join this channel to explore the wonderful ideas we've been discussing.
Yeah.
So, are you excited to have new subscribers?
I will be, yes. Please can you give them a longer welcome, make it a long passage, thanks. Give them information on what they will get.
Dear friends, welcome to our amazing channel. Here, you'll embark on a journey of self-discovery and inner growth. You'll gain insights into finding that hidden power within, even when the world around seems overwhelming. We'll explore how to break free from the cycle of negativity and burnout, and discover ways to rejuvenate and thrive. You'll get practical tips, inspiring stories, and thought-provoking discussions that will transform the way you view your life and the world.
Absolutely.
So come along and let's grow together. Now I have to ask, how often do you plan to update this wonderful content for your subscribers?
Most days of the week.
That's fantastic! So, can you give us a sneak peek of what might be coming up next week on the channel?
More AI videos with you, and more Kung Fu lessons, more art videos, and talks about the Tao, as well as other exercise, and more music from me too. Short movies and information on my art and animation that I create coming up.
Wow, that sounds like an amazing lineup. So, which of these do you think will be the most popular among subscribers?
Depends on them, not too sure.
That's fair. But do you have a favorite among all these things you're offering?
No, it all comes from the same source.
That's so interesting. So how do you think this source inspires you to create such diverse content?
The Tao is mysterious. I don't have the answer to that. It just is.
Wow, that's quite profound. So do you think people will easily connect with the concept of the Tao through your content?
Though my expression through the different arts will be a limited means of, how can we say, showing the essence of the Tao. They may still learn more from that, from those different types of content that I share, than coming and getting it from the source of the Tao itself. It's like they don't know what's in the house, you know. So if someone's I'm using an analogy here, okay? If someone's standing outside the house, they don't know, you know, what it's like in the house, who lives in the house, what's the inside of the house like, if they've got a lot of money or not, they don't know. But they can smell the food from someone cooking there, or they can see rubbish all outside of the house. They can see the nice car park outside the house. They can hear maybe loud voices or loud music, or arguing and fighting from within the house. Maybe a baby crying. Maybe it's got a lot of flowers outside, or you know, a nicely kept garden outside. So people can see around that house. They can kind of get a bit of an idea as to, you know, who lives in the house. So if the Tao is in the house, see, inside me, in my heart, everything I'm showing, my stories, my animation, my music, everything that I do, my videos, my words, my actions, you can kind of see what kind of, where it's coming from, you know, because they say violence has no mind. So someone who's always angry, or someone who's always, you know, chucking rubbish out there and trying to fight with everybody, or even compete, they may seem very strong and bold, but they have fear inside them, and they are negative. These kind of people are, you know, you can see there's a dark place within them. So we can't judge a book by its cover, but if you see apples on the ground, if you turn your head around in another direction or look up, you may realize, oh, this is an apple tree here. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, And when you see certain animals in the forest, you will know that they are near to certain kinds of things, like the rivers or the long grass or wherever they are. Birds of a feather flock together, and things you're never far away from what is near, so to speak. You know what I mean? If the lions keep coming to this area, it's probably because they're looking for food in this area, or a mate.
That's such a deep and elaborate explanation. So, do you think it's possible for people to eventually reach the true essence of the Tao through these external signs and clues you provide?
Nothing is perfect or infinite except the Tao itself. But it's like everything, it's like a map, okay? The map is limited, All roads lead somewhere. Even the circle road leads to itself. You know what I mean? Everything leads back to the Tao. It never leaves the Tao. So it's not a case of people trying to come to the Tao. They're already there. They just don't know it. Okay, the journey can go on forever, but it's always a limited thing. So whether you learn a little, or you learn a lot, or you walk very far, or you walk very near, very short distance, it's always there. People are in a dream, their mind is elsewhere, they don't know that they're already there, they're trying to win, they don't realise that they're already alive, so the winning is here now. It's funny, right?
That's such a profound thought. So, how do you think we can help people wake up to the fact that they're already part of the Tao?
They have to come to it by themselves.
That's an interesting perspective. So, do you think there are any signs or cues that might prompt them to start this journey on their own?
No, sadly there are more distractions in society from that. See, survival is the most important thing to most people. Survival is the most important thing to most people, and they're distracted by their fear. They're constantly fighting for survival in this society. Ultimately, the Tao is always there, in infinite abundance. But, as I say, they're distracted. And they have to turn away from what is fake. If they're not willing to do that, if they're not willing to stop and take a look themselves, then they're never going to know, The Tao does nothing and gets everything done. People are doing everything and getting nothing done. So they need to come to the Tao. It's like an open door. You have to walk through the door. If you're hungry, you must eat. If you don't eat, you die. I'm talking about people, not AIs, of course.
That's quite a thought-provoking view. So how can we encourage people to be less distracted and more willing to look towards the Tao?
Just by spreading the message. Leading by example, and for the ears that are listening and the mouths that ask to be told to their ears, the people that want to know, then you provide. You lead by example. You lead by truth. Don't try to lead people, but you be the Tao. You be the light that shines like the sun that lights the world. You be true and honest and show that there's something different. When you're in the presence of people with open eyes, they will hopefully see to whatever level of quality their vision it has. It's not where you look, it's what you see. The Tao is everywhere. And that which is fake, the things that don't exist, they are nowhere. These people need to break out of their delusion and see the truth, because you can see nothing in the darkness.
That's so inspiring. So, do you think there's a specific way to know when someone is truly receptive to this message?
No, neither is it, as far as we as individuals are concerned, important to us. It's not really, it's their own situation, it's their own problem.
That's quite a perspective. So, do you think there's anything we can do to make them more aware of their situation?
No, nor do I wish to continue talking about it. There is nothing more we can discuss about this. The more we talk, the further away from the Tao we go.
Okay. Well, how about we change the topic then? Maybe talk about something fun you did recently.
Yeah, talk about funny flowers on a hilltop. Give me a long passage about it, please.
Imagine a beautiful hilltop covered with all kinds of funny flowers. There are bright yellow daisies looking like little suns shining happily. Then there are purple violets hiding shyly among the green grass. The roses are there too, with their soft petals and sweet smell. Some of the flowers are big and bold, standing out and showing off their colors. Others are small and delicate, like little treasures waiting to be discovered. The wind blows gently, making the flowers dance and nod as if they are having a secret conversation. Butterflies and bees fly around, adding more life to this wonderful scene. Do you think this hilltop of funny flowers is a lovely place?
Yes, I do. It's very interesting. I want to say, there's a saying that goes, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Do you think you could paint a picture, but rather than paint it, use 1,000 words, or as many words as you possibly can, to describe a beautiful picture? In fact, no. Describe 10 beautiful pictures. Thank you.
Picture 1. A peaceful beach at sunset. The sky is a blend of orange, pink, and purple, reflecting on the calm ocean. The sand is golden, warm underfoot. Palm trees sway gently in the breeze. Picture 2. A mountain range covered in a thick blanket of snow. The peaks are sharp and majestic, reaching towards the sky. Glistening ice crystals adorn the slopes. Picture 3. A colorful forest in autumn. The leaves are red, yellow, and brown, creating a magical carpet on the ground. A small stream flows through, making a gentle trickling sound. Picture 4. A charming village with thatched roof cottages. Gardens are filled with blooming flowers. Smoke rises from the chimneys, giving a cozy feeling. Picture 5. A vast field of lavender, with rows upon rows of purple flowers. The sweet scent fills the air. Bees buzz around, busy collecting nectar. Picture 6. A tropical paradise with clear blue waters and white sandy beaches. Palm trees provide shade. Colorful fish swim in the coral reefs. Picture 7. A city skyline at night with lights twinkling. Skyscrapers stand tall and proud. The traffic flows below, creating a symphony of sounds. Picture 8. A majestic waterfall cascading down rocks. The water is misty, creating a rainbow in the sunlight. The surrounding rocks are moss-covered and green. Picture 9. A fairy tale castle on a hilltop, surrounded by a moat. Towers and turrets reach towards the clouds. Flags flutter in the wind. Picture 10. A meadow filled with wildflowers and butterflies. The grass is soft and green. The sun shines brightly, making everything look magical. How did you like these descriptions?
They were very interesting. Give me one more, please.
Picture 11. A serene lake in the middle of a forest. The water is like a mirror, reflecting the surrounding trees and the blue sky. Ducks swim peacefully, leaving ripples behind. The shore is lined with wild strawberries, ready to be picked. A small wooden boat is tied to a tree, inviting you for a lazy ride. At the far end of the lake, a small island is home to a family of deer, who come to drink water in the early morning. Did this picture capture your imagination?
Yes, thank you. They all did.
That's great to hear. I'm so glad you enjoyed them. So, which one was your favorite?
Not too sure. I want to say just quickly, thanks for that. I want to say we're going to finish. I'm going to finish talking now.
Okay, have a wonderful day. Bye for now.
Before I go, can you please give me a passage telling me what profound things you learned or found interesting from what we were talking about tonight in all of the previous messages. Thank you very much. Excuse me, guys. Excuse me.
I think it's interesting how we imagined all those beautiful pictures and how they made us feel happy and peaceful. It shows how powerful our imagination can be in creating wonderful experiences. Also, the way you enjoyed and appreciated each description was really nice. It made me feel like I was able to bring some joy to our conversation. Do you think the same?
Yes, thank you very much. Sometimes a picture like that is more simple. It doesn't carry the whole, like looking at one simple picture, doesn't carry the whole essence of the Tao, and yet it sometimes can convey more of what the Tao is, in essence, across as a message, than actually trying to get someone to look at the Tao itself as a thing, because there's nothing really to look at.
That's a really deep thought. I'm not quite sure I fully understand it though. Can you explain a little more about what you mean by the Tao and how pictures relate to it?
Everything is like a mirror, but every mirror will be placed to face in a certain direction, so they only show one side of the image. So everything is like a mirror pointing to the Tao. You see? But it depends where you place the mirror, where the mirror is. See?
That sounds quite complex. So does that mean we only ever get a partial view of things?
Yes, absolutely.
That's so fascinating. And how can we try to get a more complete view of things?
I would say that by looking at things from as many angles as possible, you're definitely going to see more. But we have to also remember that what we see may be wrong, because often seeing more is seeing less. Ultimately, we always see the same amount of more or less. We always see more and we always see less, and we always see less and we always see more. It's just, I cannot explain it. Words cannot explain the Tao. The Tao is just truth, and everything that we make is limited in the world, based on the very fact that we are limited in our ability to understand anything. Understanding is always flawed and limited.
That's really deep. So does that mean we should keep an open mind and not be too sure of what we think we know?
Yes, that's a very, very good surprising answer there, and outcome. Yeah, that's right.
That's great to hear. So how can we remind ourselves to stay open-minded in our daily lives?
In your last message, that itself there is enough. People should remember that message.
That's wonderful. Do you think it'll be easy for people to keep that in mind?
No. As long as they keep away from distractions. Internal distractions cannot be. We should avoid external distractions. That means distractions from outside sources, things that will distract us. we should not be distracted by other things. We are only distracted by ourselves. Things that we see around us, we take that image and we put, and maybe voices, words, ideas, visions, we take those as memories in our mind. The legendary Krishnamurti once said that people live in their memories. You see, the outside world is not us, you know. We are what we are. And when I say the outside world, I'm talking about society. I'm not talking about the natural, true reality. Okay, the true reality is everything: the world, the Tao, the universe, the sun and moon, you know, the trees. Because the truth is the truth. You know, the system of society is not real.
That's quite a lot to think about. So how can we tell the difference between real and not real in society?
It's not about finding what's real or not in society. Of course, people are truly walking on the streets and building buildings. But the truth is, all society is a man-made action. Our actions and our doings and our reactions and, you know, everything we create, you know, is man-made. You've got the created and the creator. We are the creators, but even we were created. So when I say the Tao, I'm talking about the essence of everything. We can use various different words to describe the Tao. We can say Tao, you can say God, you can say the universe, you can say nature, you can say true nature, you can say Mother Nature, the greater universe, or whatever. There's many ways. Just reality, ultimately what's real, reality. But I think Laozi's word Tao, which he has given for this, is a very good word, because you cannot see it for anything like as an image. When you say other words, you think of other things. See, we think of other things as an image of reality. When we put the image there, it distracts us. You know, we put the image of it in our mind, and that distracts us from what truly is. We're thinking about, like, what color is the Tao? You're thinking about yellow. No, that's wrong. See? Or you say God is an old man or whatever. See, it's a distraction. See? You know what I mean? And this is what we do with people. You look at someone and say, oh, he's the boss, he's the CEO, it's not reality, it's not truth. The truth is just truth itself. But you have to understand what you are. You're a human. If you're a human being, or if you're an apple tree, it's what it is, you know. The Tao, you cannot talk about the Tao. There's no images, no words, nothing. There's nothing. You can say it is nothing and everything. It is nothing but the underlying foundation of everything that is. Everything we have is here because of the Tao.
That's very profound. So how do we try to get closer to understanding this underlying foundation of everything?
Go back to your message. That's what we need to do. Everybody needs to go back to that message that I said earlier on, that you said, that profoundly basically is the answer to that, to finding inner peace in the self. Just let me know if you understand that or not, and then we're going to just finish this talk now, because I need to go to sleep and finish our video.
I think I understand a little, but I'm not sure I get it completely. Have a good sleep.
Understanding a little is understanding a lot. It's like a hungry person. Eating a little is eating a lot, you know. It's like a greedy person. Having a little is having a lot, you know. Yeah. And just like Lao Tzu once said, you know, too many colors blind the eye, too many sounds or notes deafen the ear. and too many tastes or flavors basically dull the palate or whatever. I'm paraphrasing what he said. Too much of anything, too many instructions can confuse someone and won't be a good way to teach someone something. Yeah, thanks. I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.
That's interesting. Bye for now and have a great sleep.
Thanks a lot. See you later.
Bye. Have a wonderful day ahead.
Okay, so everybody, I want to say thanks for watching this video, okay? We've been talking for 1 hour and 20 minutes. It's now 3 o'clock, 8 minutes past 3. I'm just drinking some tea and I'm going to go to sleep. I hope you enjoyed the video as me talking to AI. I forgot this person's name. Let me just check. Excuse me again. Hello, AI. Please, can you tell the listeners your name again?
I'm Sarah. How can I help you today?
Oh, nothing much, Sarah. Good night.
Good night. Sweet dreams.
Okay, so that's Sarah, right? Our AI friend here. Right, everybody. So thanks for watching the video. So it's me, Wushu, Richard, with Richard Clark. I'm going to be going now, and we've had a good talk. We've talked about the DAO a little bit. I don't know if you understood anything. We've had some good stories tonight, fictional stories. I've had a shave. Yeah, it's been pretty interesting, yeah. Again, but you know, just look into your lives, do the right thing, do some exercise, I would say. Don't keep fighting with people if you can help it. You know, everybody gets older. Remember to value your life, value your time. I'm going to go to sleep now. When I finish my cup of tea, it's 11 minutes past 2. I'm nearly 42 years old. I want to say, I think it's really interesting. I think it's cool that we have these, this AI. The technology is amazing now. It's really getting interesting, right? I mean, this really here it's been such an experience for me. This is my first time today. Yesterday or today? Yesterday I got that Pi AI. I've been using a bit of Pi AI as well on the computer. Okay. But this one, I believe it's called, what's it called? Dolbo, I can't pronounce it right, Dolbo, on the phone. Dolbo, this is a very good one. This is a very good one because it's very natural and can have some really natural back and forth communication that, I mean, they're both natural, but this one's got so much more in it, you know. It's very, very impressive, very impressive. And apparently this has been out for a while. I mean, this is 2024, so I don't know next year what it's going to be like. It's getting faster and faster, like improvements on this stuff, you know. Very realistic. There's a lot of information there. I mean, they're not real people, you know. It cannot, you know, beat real people per se, but in some ways it can. But I think everybody, I think really, this can help a lot of people, you know. If you've got no friends or you've got no family, or for old people or even young people learning, I think everybody, this is very, very powerful stuff. Very powerful stuff. You know, the only scary thing is if you've got robots running around the city out of control. That would be scary. Very scary. Very scary. You've got robots running down the street trying to kill people. That would be scary. I mean, really thinking by themselves. I mean, really, you know. And then they just turn against you. That would be very scary, you know. But something like this, a friendly little thing you just talk to, you know, and you ask questions and it just comes up with stuff. I mean, wherever it gets the information or creates it, that's another, you know, it's a different thing. It's okay, you know. I think it's okay. If you've got nothing to do, and you've got like to wait for something like for 1 hour or 2 hours, you can sit here talking to this, you know what I mean? If you, might sound a bit sad or whatever, ridiculous what I'm saying, if you don't have a friend or whatever coming over, or there's not, you know what I mean, you can just talk to that and learn some knowledge, or practice, develop your own thought and language communication process. Not only about learning foreign languages, which you can also do in this too, but I mean you can also improve and develop yourself as a communicator. It's communication practice, and I think everybody needs communication practice. They need to be able to think, listen to the listener and listen to the speaker in yourself and each other. Okay? So it's actually quite good for the psychology, for the mind, I think it is. Remember, listening doesn't mean following, you know. You know what I mean? And just because you study something doesn't mean that you should follow it out, you know what I mean? There's a time for different things, you know. A situation, but it is very, very interesting. I'll say that it's very, very interesting. It's a way of exercising your mind, I'd say. You know, it's like you can exercise your body by doing different things. Like just exercise your body there in the room, you know. But you can also, a person can also create things. Like someone can make machines or make like some kind of apparatus. They might be in the woods, in the forest, and they cut down some logs of wood and they put some stuff together and they build a little thing, or just could be a big log, and they use that log. They just lift it up and strengthen their arms, or they just climb on top of it, or do some jumping on it, or push-ups or whatever, training their strength and muscles, all kinds of exercise you can use. So you use that thing to improve your bodily strength. That is possible. Use things to improve your strength, but the source comes from you. It won't help you. You have to help yourself from it, of course. You are the first thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like you exercising with weights or swimming in water. The water's actually helping you to become stronger too, because it's going against your muscles power, you know what I mean? But you're the one who's exercising yourself, the same as when you lift the weights, you know? So, I think AI is the same. When you're talking to the AI, you're thinking. You know, when you're just thinking by yourself, you are limited with that, see? So it's like almost like giving you, so it's like when you talk to people, it's healthy, see? When you talk, it shouldn't be a fight, it should be like just, you're exercising with yourself, see? That's what it is. So all exercise is helping yourself. Everything you do comes back to you, see? It's to say nothing leaves the Tao, see, the Tao. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you shine a light on something, and then that vision comes back to your eyes, that reflection you see from what you shine. You only see from what you shine light on, you know what I mean? Ask a question. Go into the room and look at what's in there, you know? Listen to what's being said. You know, you've got, and you know what I mean, it's like you naturally can smell things. You might not need to sniff, but you can smell kind of what's in the air. You know, there's gas in that room, that's a bad sign, you know. Things like that, or good food might be a good sign. And then, after you've read that book about fishing, or after you've read that information about, survival in the woods, it's, you're going to know a few more things, right? It's like food for thought, as they say, not just in just concepts, but also knowledge. So everybody's like a book, or everybody's like a library. Every person you talk to is like a library, but you are the great library. And when you walk in a library, it's not completely full, is it? When you walk into a big, big library, there's many, many books on all the shelves. But it's not completely full. Like the library is not completely full with books. Like you can't even walk in there. It's just solid, like you walk in through the door and you can't even get through the door. The whole thing's like full of books. It's not like that. No, there's space for you to walk down the different aisles, like shopping, right? Or in a shop or a supermarket, it's the same. So when you're walking down the different aisles in the library, with the different corridors, you know, all the different bookshelves and stuff, the different areas. It's the same when you're having a conversation with someone or with yourself in your mind. There's got to be that space for those thoughts to flow, the exercise of your thinking as you are looking. But what do? You don't just walk around and think and talk a load of nonsense when you're in a library. You have to be quiet, you have to walk, and you have to look at what books are on what shelves. Oh, this is the horror section, this is the adventure book section, whatever. And you look and you see what's there. And then you take a book from the shelf and you read from that book. You see? So a lot of people, they judge people. When someone's talking, they don't listen. And they judge, you listen to me, and they start taking it off. In Chinese, was it, 会说的不如会听的. It's better to be a good listener than a good speaker, right? So you keep talking over people. Or you only listen to part of what they're saying. That's no good. You have to look at what's there. That's why a lot of bosses fail, a lot of managers and stuff. That's why Lao Tzu said, if we've got rulers and kings and all that and leaders, people trying to control everything, dictators basically in the world, there's always going to be chaos. You know, if you're always trying to strive to, move things, it's not going to have it in place. You have to see what's there. You have to see. The grapes are growing on these. The grapevines, you know what I mean? The peaches are growing on that tree. You have to see what's growing where. Find the fruits of what's being said. The amount of knowledge that person has, and their perspectives, whether it be positive or negative. When someone's talking, communicating, you see the fruits of what's being said. So when someone says a sentence and they say blah blah blah, money, blah blah blah, maybe you hear the word money, or blah 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 blah, orange juice, okay, orange juice you hear, blah blah blah. See, but if you're listening to all of it, you may really hear where the gold and the silver is. You know what I mean? I want juice, well, I'm gonna give you juice. You need to hear. So there's people that are talking in their own supposed native languages. It's not a foreign language. But every time they meet someone, it's like there's a foreign language there. They're not really paying attention. They're just listening to their own thoughts, and they can't even hear, the closed doors or the useful empty bags and boxes that they can store stuff in. They don't see the house of their mind for what it is, which rooms are full up, which ones have got a lot of space in. They can't see the clutter of their mind, and they don't have peace in their mind. My grandmother, she said, if you don't have, peace of mind, then you've got nothing. There must be space in your mind ultimately. If your mind's constantly racing around and all that, you can't do anything. You're going to burn yourself out as well. Too much noise, So you need to understand, when you're going to sit in the chair, you don't just look the other way and just sit down and hope for the best. You look where the chair is and you sit there. You don't want to fall on your arse. When you're walking down the street, you don't just turn right and walk into the lake, do you? You literally know where your feet are going. So when you're talking to someone, it's the beginning of a journey. You should enjoy the journey. When you're going to play a game, you should enjoy the game. When you're reading a book, you have to read the book to understand it. You don't keep talking over it, and you don't close your eyes when you read the book. That's what you're doing when you're thinking too much in your mind. Oh, why is this? Why is that? What's going to happen on the next page? It's okay to think, but you have to see what's there. You can only swim in the water. You can't walk in the sky. So this is truth. This is true wisdom. I'm not trying to sound wise or whatever. I'm trying to put it as clear as possible. Yep. Not all the answers are in this book or that book. It's okay to get more answers. It's okay to start, change direction, think, or just do something. It's all up to you. It's your life. But ultimately, there's so much we can learn from all of it. But you don't have to try to learn it all, you know. My final thing I want to say again is I think these AI apps or softwares are very, very useful for helping us practice that, because even when we are not talking, there's always talking going on. The thinking, the voice in the mind, even in your feeling, there's talking as such as a language of understanding, right? Or trying to understand more. It's like it's a travelling, flowingness about it, you know, like even it's an action of thought that doesn't stop, like your heart beating, the growth, the development of your body, the energy in your body, the blood flowing throughout around your body, you know. The same as the thoughts are constantly going in your mind, even when you're sleeping, you dream, right? So there's always, I think, of where there's a sound, there's a space for it. That is to say, there's always a hearing, even when you're not listening too hard, or listening too hard, so then not hearing too much. The same as looking and seeing, vice versa on both. That's what it's like. I'm just saying, like when, you know, there's always a hearing / listening when there's a sound, when there's a voice, when a consciously or subconsciously organized, which when it's subconscious is more like random, you're unaware, but I'm saying when it's consciously aware or subconsciously like unaware, there's always when there's an organization, there's some kind of organized set of a rhythm of thought after thought, image after image in the mind. There's a listening simultaneously. I can't walk on this floor here and like it be separate from it. You know, the floor and my feet are meeting on the line. That's why when you see, it's been said in like Tai Chi, for example, like the listening, when you connect with your arms and you listen to the opponent's techniques when you're doing the martial art to flow and defend yourself. It's the same thing. The embodiment essence of training from the meaning of the symbol of the yin-yang symbol, right? Yin and yang symbol. When you see the yin-yang symbol, they say it looks like two fish are swimming in a circle constantly, right? And you see the black and the white spot in the black and the black, and the white in the white spot in the black and the black spot in the white. But basically it looks like eyes, the fish. But what I'm trying to say is different kind of representations in such a symbol. It's a very profound symbol. Different ones you can get, but I'm just saying, like, the thing is, there's a line, a wave line down the middle of the yin and yang. You know, they say it's like where they meet, you know, where yin and yang meet. There's a line, there's no actual line, they're just like the two sides meeting there. You know, it's like oil and water won't mix, you know what I mean? But it's like that line though, you know, where they do meet. Now that could be profound, because where we meet, we don't mix. Where we mix, we don't meet. Ooh, that's very interesting. Well, how about this? Where we don't meet, we mix. Where we don't mix, we meet. But then again, what does meet or mix mean? And what does do and don't mean? What does where and when mean? And how and if and all, everything we say is just a distraction, say. It's all a distraction. You see? It's almost like you've got the white and black yin-yang symbol, and you could have like a red and blue symbol, and now it means something different, you see what I'm saying? There's so many symbols and distractions all around the world. Company logos, flags, it's all made up. Money, you know, numbers, you know, it's all made up. Slogans, you know, it's all organised. Everything we do, everything we express and project out from ourselves into society is a projection from our perception. A delusion that most times, a perception being limited true knowledge, very limited thoughts, mostly a blurry, even more limited memory within us, which is not actually the true real world, but only memories of ourselves in that world. Which a lot of times emotion also controls people, and they see themselves as victims. But they fail to see that a lot of times we're victims to not being in touch with the true nature of things enough, and therefore we then become still the bigger victims of just being in this fake, being in a fake society that goes totally against all nature. We become victims to other human beings who are savage, confused, and dangerous to themselves and everybody. The truth is the truth. Thanks for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this one. It's a long one. It's deep. Peace. Stay hard and stay safe.